The finale of the Wednesday Team Championship live on RCI TV for a pokey little championship that we weren't quite sure we were going to be able to bring you even a single round of. RCI TV has brought you the entire coverage of the series, including today's huge finale. Who will win the Pro Championship? Will it be Solvaloo? Will it be Porcelain Racing? And what about Silver as well? Ground Zero and RPMS. Who will take the championships? We'll find out here today after a duel in South America. Hello, everybody. I'm Jesse Lee, joined by Ash Bibby behind the cameras. And for one final time on Wednesday, welcome in, everybody. We hope that you're doing well wherever you are in the world. And as I can already see in chat, you're looking forward to this much anticipated finale. But before we really get started, an apology. I may have forgotten yesterday, which is in the evening of the night prior to the races. I usually put up the stream. I didn't do that today, or yesterday, I should say. Completely slipped my mind to do that, but we're here anyway. And you know what? In the spirit of the Wednesday Championship, that's more aligned with what normally happens. I normally, on purpose, don't put it up until late as sort of a little, if you know, you know kind of deal. And you guys know, and you are here. Thank you so much. And 5 minutes left to qualify in the race thus far. And it's going the way of Joe Dauber. My broadcaster, Ash Bibby's been all over it. And he's told me that nobody has been quicker than the rebound car here today as your GOAT. P2 in qualifying, and an absolutely ridiculous lap by Cormac Malloy from the Serpent Sons team, who made their debut weeks ago in the Monday Champ in this very car. And now they're here in the final race of the Team Champ. I believe it's Cormac Malloy and Jack Mays behind the wheel of that Janetta. And they have set the third quickest lap outright. They were put into the silver class, of course, but they are running pro level pace. That is insane out of the number 11. Duard in fourth. That will be third in the pro class. Zhao Manso in the triple two, the second quickest in silver. And Tom Watts third in that class. Those are the important cars there in the silver championship as we near the end of the series. Of course, we will have live points for you once qualifying is concluded. How are all of you? How you doing out there in chat? How's it going? We're a little bit late today. I was anyway. Ash showed up on time because he's like a Timex. But me, on the other hand, I may have had a nap that almost went slightly too long. My internal clock didn't fail me though. Woke up right on time to do the stream. So if I sound slightly strange, that is why I've just woken up, strangely enough. Let's see what chat's saying with 3 minutes left to go in the session for qualifying, the final one of the season. Let's hope we're not counting drive-thrus. Ash maybe using the emotes in the chat. Kevin Boss says hello. They're in the race today, of course, with their teammate Piotr Dominicus. They're fourth currently. Sawdust says, Aya. Sawdust was here before the stream went live, you know. Welcome in. Adam Carlisle. I hope Azir pulls it off again. Less than 3. Some more GOAT fans. You love to see it. Mr. Boss, one word, Jag. Ash Baby still pushing for the Jag series. I have heard some rumblings from the Wheelie Slow team about what their next car might be. And it isn't a Jag, much to Ash Bibby's dismay. It isn't the Audi either, which is interesting. I heard that there may have been a slight row between Dominicus and Boss over the next car selection. Given Boss's response, I shan't repeat that. A lot of green happening in chat. Green meaning channel members. Might as well have been with all of the gifted memberships and such that have been going around. But a lot of green. You love to see it. We love to see it. We love to see people use the emotes. improvements that I'd be making to the broadcast side of things. One of them was updated and additional emotes for both, well, for right now, just for YouTube, but hopefully one day for Twitch as well. Pietro Dominicus was on a really quick lap right there, for wheelie slow, but lost the majority of the time. Still an improvement. Puts them P11, a 51.292, but had more in the tank. Joe Dauber looking to continue to improve as Romaniak has set a more representative lap in the Porcelain Racing car. The rebound having to not rebound so much as respond here to 8.65. Can't get much closer than that. In fact, ran a time almost equal to what Romaniak ran to get P2. Azure Goat up to P3 in the 765 Racing Team Solvalu car. That slots them in third. And that makes that championship fight very interesting indeed. If they were to qualify there and finish there, of course, well, Porcelain Racing would win the championship. We get the reverse of that, though. Solvalu in front of Porcelain. That makes it impossible to call from my vantage point. Of course, we'll show you all that in just a moment. John Eraser comes across, sets a new quick time of 50.492, slots them up into fourth here. As qualifying is ending, all current flying laps will count, of course, including the one Ground Zero's Tom Shipston is on. Pietro Dominicus, we documented they had more lap time out there, but left it in Sector 3. They have just about made it around, but they've lost it again coming through Cheetah and Ingwe that time. So no improvement for Wheelie Slow. Tom Shipston absolutely nowhere where we would expect. I would almost call this the danger zone for Ground Zero. They've got a decent championship lead. Starting off of the podium and down in fifth, that is a recipe for potential disaster, but they're up on their lap time. Shipston coming through Ingwe. Will be the final car to set a time, and he's up, folks. This could be pretty good. Alleviate some stress with this lap time, and he does. He goes P2 for Ground Zero. That's more like it indeed. Here are the results of qualifying. Joe Dauber out in front of the field, and that was more like it for the 777 Rebound Racing car. The quickest second and third sector of all, a 49.865. Good enough for pole. Adam Romaniak with the second quickest time for Porcelain Racing. That'll do them just fine. No bonus points on play there in that tight championship battle, but a 49.885, exactly 2/100ths off of pole position. Azure Goat doing the qualifying duties this week. Remember, it was Kyalami 1 week ago, but Goat back in the driver's seat for quali. Set the quickest first sector of all, a 50.312, 4.5 tenths off of pole, but right there, right next to their championship rival. Eraser in fourth. Cormac Malloy set the quickest time for the Silvers, a 50.587. It was close in the end between Ground Zero, but the very first team race for Syrup and Sons, and they're out here on pole position. Now that's incredible driving from those guys. Tom Shipston for Ground Zero, again involved in their own championship battle. They'll start second, 13/100ths off of pole here today. Missed bonus points by just about that much. I reckon bonus points would have put it out of reach for RPMS, but to no avail. Speaking of that, RPMS in third. João Manso with a 50.945. Tom Watts, Pietro Dominicus for Wheelie Slow. Debot and Ficuto are your 7 qualifiers in silver. Well, we talked about the points championship. Let's show you just how close it is and why we followed this series so closely this season. Again, originally was not scheduled to be streamed was scheduled to go on, of course, but we just felt like this was going to be one of the battles for the ages, and it surely has. This team championship has been something indeed. Porcelain Racing have 148 championship points. Racing Team Solvalu has 143. Now, folks, that is just about the difference between winning and finishing second, or finishing second and third with the second place car having the fastest lap bonus points. It's really close. It's too close to call. And in fact, we will wait for the official results tonight to be posted before we make any official statement on who's won this championship. Of course, if Solvalu outpaces Porcelain, then it's too close to call. If Porcelain beats Solvalu tonight, well, it's kind of in the bag for Porcelain Racing. So they have had a battle for the ages for sure. Luna Rossa Racing had a disappointing previous round in that number 69. That's why they're out of this fight. If they would have kept it together, they would have probably still been in a three-way battle, but not anymore. 109 points for them. The 699 Racing car on 104, and G League Esports in the 23 on 98. Outside the top five, NS Racing on 83, Whittles Wizards on 78, Rebound Racing 777 on 68 points, and the Rebound Racing number 96 car has 50 points. Everyone else has retired from the Pro Championship. Silver Championship looking a bit like this. Ground Zero Racing on 160 points. RPMS SimSport 222 car on 146 championship points. That's a little bit bigger of a gap. Ground Zero is going to have to finish off the podium. RPMS is going to have to win the race now and get the fastest lap and hope for a little magic, because that's the state of the gap. It's not insurmountable by any stretch of the imagination. It's 14 championship points, but it is a bigger hill to climb. RPMS has to be perfect. Ground Zero has to be afforded some difficulty, but it is still on. Third place, currently, with Dropping the Hammer Racing, the 42 car. Right behind them, the Wheelie Slow Racing team, who couldn't quite get their lap together today. A couple of points between them. Third place, very much in doubt in the silver class. Who's it going to be, the 42 or the 31? I guess only after 80 minutes of racing today will tell. Team Monkey Racing tied with Squadra Corsa Giulia with 92 apiece. Winner take all there, of course. Serpent Sons entered the championship today. Mid-season sign-up. You're allowed to do that for any championship here at RCI TV, by the way. They've elected to do that, and they enter today's race. They actually don't even have 0 points anymore. They have pole position championship points, which means that they're still 7th, but they don't have a goose egg in the right column. Everybody else, of course, has retired from the championship. Preemptive apologies if the liveries haven't shown up appropriately here today. Now, that is a darn shame, but if somebody's altered their livery, etc., and so forth, it is unlikely that we will have it. We do apologize for that here today on the finale. Out of our control here in the broadcast booth. Some of these cars ultimately will have liveries that we do not have, and we can only apologize for that. A better look at what the cars may have looked like look to 1 week ago, but some of them are showing up, some of them aren't. Again, technical difficulties beyond our control. Apologies either way. Also, if I'm cutting out to you, nothing we can do about that either. Do apologize for that as well. I heard that I may have cut out at some point. Sawdust is saying that was a great qualifying lap for Dauber. You said it. Could have said that better myself. Pole position, can't do any better than that. Romaniak getting a P2 lap out of that. Goat not letting them get too far away. You know, John Eraser eventually getting up there in 4th place as well, more where we expect him. Cormac Malloy for Serpent Sons out qualifying Shipston. Now that is something we never thought, I never thought we would see, especially on debut. Looks like Cormac's in the car to start the race as well. You want to talk about somebody who has joined RCI and immediately started rocketing up the field. Cormac Malloy, a new driver, barely a month old. And look at him out here in silver taking his first pole position. He was fighting in that AMS2 race on Monday. In fact, he was the pole sitter at some point. He was up to P2 in the race, as well as Malloy, a little racer, the number 11.
30 seconds.
Giving us the rundown of his car and team. The Audi struggles here and at most other tracks, but I suppose particularly more here than other places.
10 seconds.
.967 Timma coming in, saying probably going to loop it into pit wall at some point. That's not the spirit. Matthew Malcolm saying that he really tried. Can't trust his brakes. Tom Bryant joined us briefly to put a drive-through penalty in chat, which reminds me, no live stewarding for the Wednesday champ. Everything will be done post-race. Championship points, of course, that you see are after the week's post-race stewarding, if there were any. Sawdust saying, at least there's these cars running around the racetrack to wake you up. I'm always pumped up for racing. I couldn't said it better myself. A lot of ooh-woos going on in chat. I'll give you one for free. Ooh-woo. Now there's a soundboard edit of me ooh-wooing out there in the wild. I don't know how to feel about that. Now Ash is upset because I thought Ash was responsible and it wasn't Ash's doing. So that's interesting. Somebody else is out there clipping the ooh-woos. Unreal. Unreal. Feel free to do so at home. I don't care. I just can't believe out of all the projects I've been involved in, RCI is not one I ever thought that ooh-woo would catch on in. But here we are. Joe Dauber, of course, on pole. Porcelain in P2. Ted definitely did start the ooh-woos today. We ooh-wooing here for Solvalu one last time. There you go. Teammate to GOAT. That's Dinak. Dinak who will get into the car at some point in the race today. What a team effort it was for Solvalu 1 week ago. In the conditions that we had at Circuit of the Americas. Absolutely excellent drive. Jordan Daly's joined us. Hello, Daly. Solva, ooh-woo. You're just getting creative with it now, chat. That's what you're doing. Here's how it's going to shake down for the final race in the Wednesday Team Champ. 80-minute race. Required pit stop. If you have a teammate, you are required to do a driver swap. If you don't, there is an additional pit road requirement, of course, that makes the pit stop even amongst those that are not, because typically speaking, if you're not doing a driver change with our normal rule set, you gain an advantage by not having a teammate. We hope to have nullified the vast majority of that with additional pit requirements, of course, but that will be near the middle part of the race. Waiting for the lights to go green. They've already passed the line, but this is a late start. They get past the line. The green flags go on for the final time here in the team championship, and it's a dead heat. Dauber and Romaniak, and here comes Goat. Goat looking up the inside. Contact, a little bit of movement from Romaniak. Goat backs off, and everybody survives down the inside. Cormac makes a little bit of contact with Eraser. They end up going single file, but here's Goat fighting their way up to P2. That was very close indeed. They back off finally. I thought they had him in the juice key sweep, but they back off into barbecue. They're single file for the first 5 or 6 cars. Now count them 7. They're still side by by side. In the background, Zhao Manso side by side with somebody. I'm unable to ascertain who, but finally clear. Very, very solid challenge from Goat. And now that's how they settle out. No major incidents throughout the field. Malloy does get to keep the first place position in silver after the contact with the Razor down into 1. Rebound Racing leads over Porcelain over Sovalu. It's how it all shakes out. That was very close, and as close as you could possibly get without any major incident, but we haven't had one. A couple of small contacts, not a whole big deal. And that was, by the way, that was Tom Watts I saw. That was side by side with Manso off of Barbecue that time through. Also, by the way, if we're going to see a replay here, there was an accident with the Wheatley slow car in the 96. Just a little, just a little side by side racing action. And you know what? If you joined us earlier, I may have said that we were in South America. I meant South Africa, of course. We are in Kyalami in South Africa. My apologies to both continents. And on that, well, technically South Africa's a country, but you get my point. 2 different continents, those places. So my apologies indeed. Was still a little bit sleepy at the time. I didn't even realize I had made that mistake. But South Africa, not South America. We're not at Sao Paulo. We are indeed at Kyalami. Just being told in my ear, it might have been Daly who soundboarded the uwu. There you go. A lot of uwus in the house. I like Solvaluwu is probably my favorite. I'd rename the team personally. Race has gone pretty well so far. No major movement at all. Dauber still leads in the pro class. Malloy leads in silver, though only just over Tom Shipston. Zhao has to take almost avoiding action that time as they come through Liakop, and that's going to open the door to Tom Watts, who's looking down the inside of Mine Shaft. Can't do it. Has to fall back in line. You don't want to be side by side through there if you could help it at all. So much momentum and time loss. It doesn't look like it, folks, but you could lose a ton of time through there just by being side by side. Ash apologizing to Daly for selling him out. Like I said, I don't care. I just, I wouldn't have called Daly, though. I wouldn't have called it. I would have probably argued maybe Cormac Malloy, probably Ash. Not either of those, as it turns out. Adam Romaniak, the quickest car on the racetrack right now. He's a second behind Dauber, but that time through, reset the quickest lap. That looking very nice for Porcelain Racing. And this is my rudimentary update of how the championship would look if the results hold the way they are right now. You would have Porcelain Racing as your champions in pro. You'd have Ground Zero as your champions in silver. And of course, we got a lot of racing here to go, folks. 75 minutes and some change. The Anime RPMS car with Zhao behind the wheel. Zhao might be the car on the move right now, Quite quick indeed. They've dispatched of Tom Watts, and they've got Duard, who I thought was going to be a real big threat in this championship early on. Of course, they are 5th in the championship G League. But they came off that first race, didn't get the result I would have expected them to have gotten at the Nürburgring. They had a really good race at Brands, but just haven't quite been able to keep pace with Solvaloo and Porcelain. And now Rebound Racing for good measure, and find themselves under threat from the third place silver car. So we're quite accustomed of Zhao doing this, kind of rocketing through the field, as it were. Joe Dauber has retaken fast lap for the race. That's what the magenta number on the left side of the timing and scoring tower means. Whoever has that has the quickest lap. The red one is the car that we're focused on, of course. Back-to-back laps, dueling for the quickest lap. Joe Dauber was able to put nearly 4/10 on Romagna that time by. Well, Matthew Malcolm has had a frustrating start to the race. You want to talk about a driver who's had absolutely no luck. Matthew Malcolm named 2 setups and took the one with no fuel. So presumably he had a setup that was meant for similarly and loaded the wrong setup, so no fuel in that car, and that has made the number 19, the Malk Racing car, or excuse me, that's NS Racing, I beg your pardon, racing with NS in this championship. They've had to come down pit road. That's an unscheduled stop for NS Racing number 19, Matthew Malcolm. They have done that stop, and they are continuing. All respect to him, because you don't know how the race is going to shake out here. What's going to happen? We apologize for having audio issues. I'm believing that it's a Discord issue. Use Discord to team up and record. So I think we're having a Discord issue here. Not a whole lot we can do about that, so we need to apologize for that. Unless it's me, then then that's on me, and I apologize. Mike Redford sort of laughing along with his sometimes teammate over at NS Racing. It happens. It's so easy. There's so much, folks, to deal with in a race. Getting on the grid is one thing, and then the setting a time, all that pressure. And a lot of these drivers will have different setups, of course. They'll have a qualifying setup, which may be configured completely different as opposed to the race setup, and that includes fuel load, which does play a factor in ACC. And what will happen is you get a few minutes to set everything up, and you go through sort of a mental checklist. And what will inevitably happen is you will miss something, even if you've looked at it and gave it the old eyeball confirmation. It happens all the time. Very easy to have the wrong setup in, especially if they're similarly labeled. Very easy to not switch your setup back over after qualifying if you have to. Even easier to not configure your pit stop, not think about it because you're so focused on the race. Get to the pit stop, realize it's not configured correctly, and you only realize that once you're up on the jack stands because you pre-configure that. You assume it's going to be okay, and it isn't. Super easy. A lot to take on, especially if you're a solo driver. But it can happen to anyone, and it does. I'm in pain here. Leave me be. Hope you're all right, Mike. Doesn't sound like you are, but we hope you're on the mend. Katrina helping us out here, letting us know that you need fuel to complete the race. That is very good top tip right there by Katrina. And that's interesting because I forgot that a few times myself personally. I think you've mentioned that before, Mike. I'm pretty sure. And if you haven't, then I'm misremembering. Sounds like everything went well despite the pain. Romaniuk has been able to retake the fastest lap. Did that a lap or so ago. Now the gap back down to a second. It is a duel between the top two. Rebound and Porcelain. Racing Team Solvalu in third place solidly, but 3.2 seconds behind Goat. The catch-22 for Porcelain, though, is if they get up there and start racing Dauber, which I suspect they will do, that will only bring Azure back into the fight. In fact, here it is, the fight for P1. Adam Romaniuk for Porcelain. Right on the back of Joe Dauber now. A second and a half completely erased in the past couple of laps. So keep an eye on that third place car. Keep an eye on Solvalu's gap, 3.2. That's to the next car, not to the leader, but it makes no difference in this case. There's no way that gap doesn't come down if these two start racing, or just in general, if Adam starts getting held up by Joe here. Stardust is claiming hacks on Redford's operation, saying that he was just doing it to become more aerodynamic. Redford probably doesn't need to be any quicker. If it's any quicker, I won't be able to compete with him on the off chance that that would ever happen. Just stop it. Sounded like a father whose children in the back seat are arguing or fighting, and I just turn around and say, stop it. Ash, you know all about that. Ironic that the method of improving one's breathing results in no breathing for a time afterwards. I don't know why Ash just went into daddy mode, and I quietened up there. I don't know what happened. He threatened me with turning the bus around. Who knew Ash was the driver of the battle bus? Who knew? It's been you all the time. Jao Manso, RPMS, continuing to try and make up time on Duard in front. They've left Tom Watson Company behind. 2.6 seconds the gap there. And here is NS Racing's Matthew Malcolm. Hottest driver. NS stands for Not Sheep Racing. You can tell that. They have a giant sheep with a bullseye, with a crossed out mark on the hood of that car. Now they have continued to pound around. We have started this race with 15 cars. We still have them. Mike Redford asking, is Malcolm using the right livery tonight? Mike, you're going to have to tell us. And if it doesn't appear, if he is, that might be on us still. But Redford seems to indicate that he is using the correct livery tonight. So a happy Mike Redford. Can't breathe, can Mike, but he's happy nonetheless. That's full of nose puns now. I have nothing particularly interesting to add to that. I think you've already made all my jokes. Need to get some new material, as it turns out. They bought Roscom in the number 96 car, looking to make a move on Watts here. Watts falling off the back. This is the second rebound car is Roscom. To make a move here. This is for 9th place overall. Doesn't pay the rebound car any additional championship points. To get closer to his class, such as Duard, who's in 7th. Something we didn't mention in the abbreviated intro to the street, track limits are usually a problem when you come to Kyalami, South Africa. It's always been like that since the track was introduced. Very easy to do at any car, and that kind of illustrates my point exactly. Don't know if that was a track limit warning, but you can get how easy it is. Looks academic when they're just driving around, but they're pushing, and sometimes when you push a little bit too hard, and you go over the line. Some of the track limits quite tricky. You would argue, and I'm sure a lot of drivers, including me, would argue, somewhat unreasonable in some sections of the track limits. Romantic losing time there, though, coming through Sector 1 that time. Looked like they were somewhat close in Crowthorne. That's turn number 2, and then lost it in the Juski sweep. And by the time Barbecue had turned around, Joe Dauber had opened up a 1-second gap at that point. Matthew Malcolm typing and driving. There appears to have been an additional issue. They are now just ahead of the lead lap cars. Malcolm typing while driving there, letting us know that they're very frustrated. Jordan Daly has said that with good coaching, you could avoid track limits, couldn't you? Yeah, you sure could. Driver 61 can help you with your track limits issues by teaching you some extra techniques and maybe a little bit of discipline as well out there on the racetrack, as well as consistency. Driver 61 offers one-on-one driver coaching and full-on racing schools. Driver61.com. Very nice folks over there. I like their racing schools, but their one-on-one driver coaching is pretty fantastic as well. Get that one-on-one help. A coach will take a look and give you some pointers and then let you give it a go. And by all accounts, everyone that I've known that's used that particular service has Driver61.com. We apologize for the audio issues. White for P1, still on. Jordan Daly absolutely setting me up by all accounts. Setups definitely helps Daly. And you know where you can find them. Everybody knows by now, but the secret, well and truly out of the bag. Go Setups is the place to go for competitive esports setups and safer alternatives for anybody as well. Go Setups offers packages for specific cars on all tracks, etc. As well. Get a little bit of a discount with that, I believe. A lot of people are fully on the go setup now. Joe Dauber continues to lead Romaniak. Cormac Malloy continues to lead Shipston. No movement there between the top two in either class. Romaniak has caught Dauber. Shipston never lost Malloy, but just pacing each other now inside the final hour of the championship. João Manso has not been able to keep up with Duard in 7th place. The 23 for G League has driven away ever so slightly. Thought us making a Raid Shadow Legends joke. We don't have sponsors here, you know, just partners. The difference is, of course, they don't pay us directly. Anytime you click one of those links, of course, and especially for Go setups and stuff like that, you buy a setup or you visit our affiliate link to Fanatec.com, your, of course, leader in direct drive sim racing hardware, Fanatec.com. New bundles and deals this holiday season over at Fanatec.com. Anytime you click that link and you buy something, then yeah, we get something back for that. That's the difference. They don't pay us directly. And anything we do get from our partners, of course, as you will know, goes right back into the setups. Cormac Malloy now very much under fire from Shipston. I think the tires on the Chevrolet faring a little bit better. Now, this is really interesting from Malloy because I've seen him race quite a bit since joining RCI, but I haven't seen him under pressure a whole lot. So this will be a really good indication of how far along he is in his driving prowess. Most rookie drivers or new drivers, and I'm saying this for the benefit of anybody that is one, they focus so much on getting their pace up and being competitive, which is fair enough. But what ends up happening is they lack the racecraft. That's why so many platforms like iRacing, R-Factor now as well, AMS2, which we were racing on Monday, LFM for ACC and others now. That's why they have a ranking progression system. It's supposed to match people based on their mastery of all the different techniques. And, you know, you can argue how good it does that job. That's not what I'm here to do. What I am here to say is that when you're new, you focus so much on your pace. A lot of times what the problem that you have is you get in a situation like this. You have a veteran in Tom Shipston who can go out there and win championships, who pressures you to a point where you end up making mistakes. Now, to Cormac's point, he's not made one yet. Looked like Shipston had a lane down the inside, didn't send it, was not afraid, held his line, did Malloy, and still maintains the lead here. Still the battle for the lead. Nothing going on here between the top two. What must Adam Romaniak be thinking? What must he be doing? What he's doing is following the leader, of course. Huge moment for Porcelain Racing. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if Romaniak makes this pass or not. If the standings, if the running order stays the way that it is right now, Porcelain Racing win the championship. This pass is not so much important to them. The same could be said here for Shipston trying to make a look down mine shaft on Cormac. Cormac's going to give him the room on the outside. Shipston's still there. He's going to have to back out of it, going the long way around, trying the over-under move here. He's almost there. Is he there? He may be. No. Single file again was there on the fender for a split second. Looking down to the inside of Ingwe. Fully alongside now is Tom Shipston as they're side by side. The run will favor the Syrup & Sons car, and it does. Single file again. Unlike the top two, Shipston absolutely going for it. Same situation as Porcelain, though, for ground zero. Doesn't have to make this pass. This is a bonus for ground zero. Down to the inside of turn number 2. He's just about got it done, and in the Jute Ski sweep, he's done it. Started the pass all the way back in mine shaft. Finally got side by side in Crowthorne and ends up past him in the Jute Ski sweep. Clear in barbecue. That was the better part of half of a lap of setup to make it happen. Tom Shipston leads in the silver class. Ground Zero Racing leading both the race and the championship now. Jordan Daly has revealed that he's actually coaching the Syrup & Sons team. So that's very interesting. I mean, that's not unusual. Daly's been known to coach many a driver, Ted Edwards and myself included. So not particularly Ash Bibby. I've just realized I'm in a box with Pete, with everybody at Daly's coach. So there you go. Not unusual in any way. But probably helps to the focus, to be honest. Just having somebody who has that experience and also is not in the race properly to see things that you can't possibly see. Smooth overtake, smooth operator. Tom Shipston, though, able to convert that pass for following for the better part of 30 minutes, was able to get that done. John Racers caught the back of Goat and Racing Team Solvaloo. This doesn't have championship implications, but it does have podium implications here in the finale. I'd like to take this time to thank all of you for being with us here on the championship deciding race for the Wednesday Team Champ. We hope that you've enjoyed the entire championship brought to you in its entirety. That was definitely not on the cards, but we made it so. It was requested. We aim to please. And we have thoroughly, on our end, enjoyed the championship thus far. We hope that you have as well. We only invite you to like the stream itself and subscribe if you haven't already. More racing coming at you this holiday season. The conclusion of Night Owl on Saturday night, I believe it is. The final race of the Ash Bibby Presents Night Owl Season 16, the throwback to the original season, sponsored by Mr. Bibby himself. How did Ash Bibby get to sponsor a championship? Well, he donated a total of around $50 to the RCI TV server fund, and when you do that here at RCI, you earn the option to sponsor a championship tomorrow as well. For more information on all the iRacing stuff going on, including, I believe, tomorrow's race, racerci.com. All right, folks. What we're going to do is we're going to try and deal with the technical issues, the audio issues that we seem to be having with me for a moment. So I'm going to let your broadcast director, Mr. Bibby, select a car. We're going to drive on board for a little bit. We're going to turn the sound up for a second, and we'll be right back on commentary in just a moment or two. Stick around. We'll be right back in just a moment or so. But for right now, turn the sound up and enjoy an onboard experience with race leader Joe Dalton. Hello and welcome back to the final Wednesday Team Champ stream of the year. It's Championship Wednesday, round number 6 here in Kyalami, South Africa. Drive-through penalties have been issued for the number 96 rebound racing car for minor speeding in the pit lane. And that is not what Theobald wanted to see, but they have gotten themselves a drive-through. That's for minor speeding. That's for 1 or 2 kilometers over, of course. And in case you're wondering, no, we weren't able to solve the audio issues. I think that's going to be completely on me today, so bear with us here as we give you continuing coverage to the flag tonight. And I saw what Sawdust said, commentators gone, commit war crimes. And then immediate ooh-woos again. You can't commit crimes and ooh-woo at the same time, surely. Surely that has to be separate. Contact between Goat and Eraser. John Eraser trying to get by Goat here, and a little bit of a touch there. That wasn't too terribly bad. It would have moved Goat out of the way though. Eraser does continue the move through. I don't know, chat. What do you think about that? That was an opportunistic move. Dinak Kalmari installed in the Racing Team Silvaloo 765. They will take this car to the checkered flag here today. 41.5 minutes to go. The pit window, 10 minutes. Half the drivers have already done their stop. Half have not. The big casualty so far, Roscom's drive-through penalty for minor speeding. Kevin Boss has joined us. Pretty pleased with this stint, to be fair. I know Boss has been under the weather the last several days. Some drivers will tell you getting in the race car, best medicine in the world. I have a theory behind that, by the way. The theory is you get your adrenaline going, you don't feel sick anymore. And also you're doing something you enjoy, so you're less focused on not being able to breathe or, you know, coughing your lungs out, etc. and so forth. But it was a good stint, as you would expect out of the wheelie slow car. The Outer Dominicus installed into the 31 Audi now. Several more cars into the pit lane. Roscom has immediately served his drive-through. That has been erased now after their trip down pit lane, their additional trip down pit lane. The leader of the race in, Joe Dauber down pit lane, Cormac Malloy and Watts all in the pit lane. And quite curiously, Cormac is shown in front of Tom Watts now. And I wonder if that's just because of where the pit boxes are in relation to the start-finish line. Sawdust helping us out with the direction there. We got you. Thank you very much. Kevin Boss remarks, was able to keep a gap to Watts. Pretty stable, except for when I had to defend from Facuto. Now Piotr is in the car, and it's up to him to catch Watts and win that P3 in the champ. That is, of course, we showed you the championship. That's very much on here for third place as well. Oh, and I'm absolutely insane. It wasn't Watts that Cormac was fighting. It was Tom Shipston. My apologies there. I'm completely out of sorts here. The Chevrolets have ruined me, is my excuse. And that is an excuse. Kevin Boss also confirming that the paracetamol has worked. And if you're not British, he's taking cold medicine. The thing is, instead of what it actually is, completely opposite to what Americans do, where everything is a brand name. Capitalism. Yay. I got a chuckle out of my broadcaster Ash there. That's what I was going for anyway. The last of the late pitters are in. Nobody trying to maximize today's pit stops. Duard, Manso, and Vacuto in the pit lane. That will complete the final pit sequence on the final day of the championship. Just the one penalty so far. Duard, Manso are clear. No issues there. Down to Marco now. Here is Piotr Dominicus for wheelie slow. Was a slow stop for Serp and Sons as they're now in third place. You'll remember they were solidly in P2 at the time, but they're down to third now. Jack Mays installed into the number 11 Ginetta. It was a really good pit stop for Joe Dauber. Biggest gap of the race so far. 2.3 seconds he has on Adam Romaniuk in the Porcelain Racing car. That won't trouble Adam too much. Adam won't. Of course, they would like to win the finale and the championship, but from where they are right now, that's good enough considering John Razor has beat Kyalami and the Team Silvaloo car in and off of pit lane somewhere thereabout. John Razor enjoys third place now. But Dinak Kalmari right behind them, though, for P3. And Romaniuk did take a 10th out of the lead there in that last sector. Am I reading too much into that? Time will tell. Yes, I am, because it immediately went back out. So there you go. Instant answers. Didn't even have to ask Google for that one, you know. If you weren't with us earlier, a bit of a championship battle in both classes coming down to the wire here today. The 229 had a handful of point lead over the 765. That will stay the same as Romaniuk has taken the quickest lap of the race again. And it was a 14-point lead between the number 60 and the 222. And no change there. As it stands, Team Porcelain, if the race ended now, which it doesn't, of course, Porcelain Racing, the 229, would win in pro. Tom Shipston and the number 60 would win in the silver class. A lot of racing left to go here, 35 minutes. Ash still pushing that JAG agenda. The JAG agenda, if you prefer.
Pit window is now closed.
I'll say it for you, Ash, because I know you want me to say it. You want me to pronounce it incorrectly, so I will do Jaguar. Of course, it's a Jaguar. But, we have an American sports team over here called the Jaguars. Most people just call them the Jags, though. Kevin Boss making fun of me in as well. Ash. There you go. Sawdust is into it. Jaguar. Alexander Vanderwoode has immediately shown up the instant a Jag has been mentioned. That's what we like to see. Oh my goodness. If you're wondering why Wheelie Slow doesn't want to run that Jag for the next championship, it's quite simple. The Jag is so uncompetitive now. It is not funny. Now, if you don't know Wheelie Slow's sort of mission statement, they drive cars that are usually off meta most of the time. It's not cars that aren't viable as contact there between Dominicus and Richard Whittle, who's got in the 957. And that could have been disastrous, but absolutely no net code there. That is very un-ACC-like. Normally that results in a spin. Solid contact, no issue, but a little bit of damage you'd probably have to wager between the wheelie slow car and the Whittle Wizards car. Now Alexander making their argument now. Shouldn't they run it on purpose because they're called wheelie slow? Jaglexander Vanderwoude. Oh my goodness, what is with this? This chat, you are on it in the most creative way today. What is going on with chat? We love to have you, by the way. Love to have you here for the finale. Final 30 minutes of the champ. Piotr going up the inside. He won't have the run here. The outside will prevail through Ingwe, and has. Of course, one of the biggest misconceptions about Kyalami here is where turn 1 is. They think it's Crowthorne. It isn't. The kink counts as turn 1 officially. Richard gives room, looks back up the inside, position for the time being to Dominicus. Dominicus closes it off in the Jutski sweep, but he's going to go wide here in barbecue. Oh, and a wiggle from Richard, and that's going to allow Dominicus to keep the position. Here comes Marco in the background. I don't know what Piotr was flashing. He was in front unless he was flashing us. BRT Kerber's joined us. How's things going? It's been a pretty calm race, all things considered. A couple of bumps, and 2 sort of penalties, if you will. But one of which self-inflicted by Matthew Malcolm, admittedly. The extra pit stop, and Theobald Roscom has got themselves a drive-through that they served for speeding in the pit lane. Other than that, been quite calm. Not to say the racing hasn't been close, because it certainly has, and still continues to be here. Piotr was saying hi to the crowd. I like it, Alexander. I like it. Final 30 minutes of the champ, just sort of reflecting on what has taken place. For those of you that weren't with us at the start, we broadcasted this championship, the opening round. It was just sort of something that came up spur of the moment. And we had the time, we had the personnel, why not do it? And sort of captured our imagination, our passion for racing in a weird way, because it was quite competitive. You have some teams that aren't actual tandems, some cars that are, and no race in the first couple, 2 or 3 were the same. And it's set up for what has been an excellent championship battle. Now, not over yet, and that's the important thing. Trending in the right direction for the top 2 cars in their respective classes, but that is dangerous to get complacent here in the final 30. BRT seems to think that they know something we don't know. Well, that's quite interesting. Marco now looking to get past Whittle. Dominicus has gotten by, disappearing up the road a little bit. Marco Facuto. I've been pronouncing their name wrong this entire time, which I probably am. My apologies to Marco and the team. Whittle's Wizards, which is quite funny. I think they're brothers, I'm pretty sure, the Whittles. Could be a father and son team as well, but pretty sure they're brothers. Either way, Whittle's Wizards, who early on in this championship, absolute mouthful to say, was horrified. I may say something wrong there. I haven't done. I've kept it together all season. I'm very proud of myself. Oh, a huge slide again from Richard Whittle. Marco does the same behind, so no time lost or gained there. And now you start to worry a little bit about track limits. Kevin Boss reckons Marco's name is pronounced Ficuto. Kevin Boss also using Google Translate to back up his own opinion there, which is about as good as looking up do vaccines cause autism. It was satire, by the way. I just want to make that very clear. That was satire. Kevin Boss continuing to lecture me on how to pronounce Italian names. Chew like Pikachu. Faciuto. Oh, Faciuto. All right. Marco Faciuto would be a good Pokemon to have. Wonder what the base stats of Marco look like. Ash told me something that happened with Jack, but I've completely forgotten what he said. Yeah, that drop for Maze into P3 happened somewhere right around the pit stop. I don't know what happened there. I don't have any incidents to report. Meanwhile, this is the state of the lead of the race. Rebound Racing in the 777. Thank you, Sawdust, for the analysis on that not joke that I made. I wasn't making fun of anyone. I just want to make that very clear. But thank you for that synopsis as well. I definitely appreciate that. Also, thank you for taking my meaning. Joe Dauber for Rebound Racing continues to pound around and lead, but the lead is starting to slim ever so slightly. It's stuck at 1.3 seconds, the gap. Now it's coming down 1.7 as Adam Romaniuk comes back into the picture. Now the question will be, if Adam is able to catch the rebound car, what do they do? It is still a tentative lead. If Romaniuk gets into trouble and Dinak Kalmari goes through, which is very much a plausibility, what do you do? Do you sit and ride behind a car that you presume you could beat in a one-on-one and secure the championship, play it safe, or do you go for glory here and potentially lose it? We've seen issues like that before. We've seen excellent races out of Racing Team Sovalu where they have raced incredibly well and picked up the pieces of their competitors. Sovalu, to me, embodies that magnificent ability of 1 week you're the fastest car on the racetrack, like we saw 1 week ago. But that's not the only way to win a race here, is it? Sovalu's done it both ways this year. This year, as if this championship's taken out. You know what I mean? This season, season 6. I think Porcelain has to know that. And I think kind of why they didn't make a pass earlier, did Porcelain, was that thing, knowing that they cannot afford to have an issue. 1.47 the gap, first to second now. Couple of tenths quicker a lap now is Adam Romaniuk. At its current rate, at Adam's current rate, they will get there. But that's not really the big question, is it? The big question is, what will they do? Team Solvalu, I screwed that up. Team Solvalu waiting in the wings here. Dinette Kalmari doing a really good job. Only 3.2 behind a Razor for third. If anything were to go wrong, they'd be right back in this. If anything would go wrong for the cars in front, of course. Tom Shipston looking like champion-elect in silver, right behind Kalmari. Shipston, Manso, Mays, your top three in silver. Dauber, Romaniuk, your Razor, your top three in the pro class. Here is Matthew Malcolm. If we were going to give a Spirit of the Race award, you'd have to probably give it to the NS Racing 19 today. Loaded the wrong setup, one that didn't have proper fuel in it. Had to do a unscheduled pit stop, as it were, to actually put fuel in the car. Still had to do their mandatory stop, which they did do. '42 has crashed. Tom Watts has lost it in the Crocodiles to the Cheetah section. They immediately returned to the garage, and they have retired. The 42 out of this race now. The only retirement thus far. Up one spot goes NS Racing and Matthew Malcolm. Tom Watts left in such a fury. We couldn't even see what happened. It looked to be a solo incident over the curbs in the Cheetah Crocodiles area. Horschel's now invented the OWOO. Chad, I'm looking. We've got some OWOOs, we've got some OWOOs, some woo-woos there now. Oh no, the OWOOey verse. The OWOO. OWOO, we got OWOOs now. Adam Romaniuk, the Polish driver, has caught Joe Dauber for, oh geez, it has to be a third time today. How much are you willing to risk if you're Porcelain? If you're Adam right now? Final 19 minutes. Surely you don't just make the move. You hope Dauber makes a mistake. I'm not quite sure Joe's capable of making a mistake that big. But what will it be for Porcelain Racing? Will it be a cruise in behind Joe to accept the championship trophy? Or will he chase that double glory? Little aggressive move there by Romaniuk, looking up the outside there. It was covered off nicely by Dauber. No real intent there to speak of, but definitely shows that he's not hanging around as Adam. Joe has to know that. Probably does. I'm Joe Dauber. I'm making a deal right now. Marco Ficciuto going to go wide here off into the dirt. Was that a track cut? I don't know. Lost a lot of time to Richard Whittle, though. Whittle's Wizards escapes up the road a little bit. Tom Shipston's caught Dinek Kalmari, and this is a tricky spot for Tom Shipston. An incident with Dinek would certainly dent their championship fever. Alexander cheering on Marco there. You love to see the support. Roger Corsa Julia team. We love to see that, by the way. We love to see your passion for your teammates, your friends, just teams that you like, all that stuff. We love to see that in the chat. Marshall saying Tom Shipston in the boat car. I thought he said best car. He didn't. Said the boat car. Confirmed. Pretty sure that Camaro would float as well. You could turn it into a seafaring vessel. Certainly big enough. Kevin Boss confirming that Tom Watts spun the right side of the hairpin before Cheetah hit the curb. And that's what happened to our only retirement today, the number 42, Tom Watts, who seemingly was quite frustrated, had a very slow stop as well. Can't confirm the Camaro's a great car. The wet. See there? Vanderwood has you covered. He's already done it. The Top Gear top tip for those of you in Europe: buy a Camaro, use it as a yacht. Peter Varga installed in the 508. Now, talk about a team that we haven't talked a whole lot about, the Team Monkey Racing liveried car. They're still pounding around here. Going to get some points out of this. What will this do? The 508 in the final championship standings, getting points here. We'll have to see. Ash Bibby's gifted another membership to the RCI TV YouTube channel. Favre was gifted that membership. If you're in the chat, say thank you to Mr. Bibby. Absolutely insane. Ash Bibby continues to do it. Ash, stop. Stop doing it. You're insane. Yeah, it's an addiction that you should definitely. I'm going to have to put a toll-free number at the bottom of the screen. Do you donate too many subscriptions? I'm going to have to start doing that for you. Put you in a Gamblers Anonymous class. I don't know. I mean, I don't have it. I don't have a total currently, but it's up there. Ash is trying to. Ash did that for Mrs. Bibby. Ash is trying to make sure that every race next season has a server, and he's getting real close to doing that. We do definitely appreciate it, Ash. Thank you so much. Here is the tale of the evening. It was 2.3 seconds after the pit stop. It was a nice pit stop for Dauber. He was able to maintain that lead for some time, but now it has all but evaporated. The faster car, obviously, Porcelain Racing's Romanic. Dauber very defensive here in Leah Cup this time. Completely beside is Adam. He'll have to go the long way, but he will get a run down Mineshaft. The question will be, how good of a run will it be? He did get a run, did Adam, but it wasn't quite long enough. Defensive line down to the inside. Romaniak goes very wide here. He could try the over-under, but he's overshot it just a little bit too much, and that's not on. Joe Dauber continues to lead. Dauber has shown that he's going to defend this and try and get a win here in the 777 for rebound. Porcelain showing you that they are not afraid of racing. They are not going to back down. They are going to try for the double victory here today. And it's a dangerous proposition, but they've accepted the challenge. A feint there. No real move on for turn number 2 for Thorne. Herschel has made a mention that there's no such thing as too many subscriptions unless you're talking about streaming services. All I got to say to that is, Herschel, you may have a very good point there. Night falling here in South Africa. We started in afternoon. Sunshine. A little bit of cloud perhaps, but we didn't really mention the weather today because there's absolutely nothing to complain about. The weather cooperating this week. About as good as you could imagine. Final 11 minutes going to be run into darkness here. 7:17 in sim time. Matthew Malcolm lamenting the Porsche. Hey! Personal thanking Kevin Boss for a gift sub given. Goodness, when was that? Was that a week ago or so? I'm unsure, but I do remember that. But he got it in there. Just the one penalty tonight thus far, the drive-through for minor speeding. That was on the 96 rebound car. Oh, thinks it was Monday, in fact. Okay. Could have been. Of course, I'm not hearing the Porsche slander here tonight, saying that it's the perfect car. Perfection in car form is actually what he said. Or what they said. Forgive me, I don't mean to presume your identity. Good daily. Glad to know that the Porsche is divisive as always. Richard Whittle for Whittle's Wizards continuing to lead. Marco Ficciuto here in the late going. Keeps getting close, and every time Ficciuto gets there, something happens and they fall back. And oh, that Chevrolet looking a bit unwieldy. Richard has caught the 19. That's Matthew Malcolm in front. That's not Piotr Dominicus. This man in between a rock and a hard place. He's got his championship rival in second. And a position in front of him that doesn't pay him additional points. Of course, Kyalami also involved in their own championship fight here. Tom Shipston hasn't made any serious moves, in my opinion. Try and get by Kyalami, and that typically tells me that the ground zero car is just happy to be where it is, and it appears to be just sort of riding around a bit. No real threat from RPMS and Zhao behind. No reason to force the move. So he isn't. The last thing that Shipston wants to do is affect the championship battle that Denak is involved in. That is the case. At least that's what it looks like from our vantage point. I'd say that's quite smart indeed. No such decision made here for the win of the race and potentially the championship. Dauber continues to lead, has led the majority of the race for rebound. Romaniak for porcelain. Thinking about double glory here tonight. 7 minutes will be the amount of time left as they cross the line here. Few precious laps left. Nice chat going on. Oh my goodness, completely off of the racetrack there was Adam Romaniak. I was reading the chat, and right when that happened, completely off the roadway was Adam there. What on earth happened here? They were side by side. What a time to look away. It was contact even. Contact between the two leaders of the race that sent Romaniak off into the grass. He's able to recover a flash of the lights from the 229 porcelain car. And that will dampen the fight for a moment at least. Significant contact, I'd say, between the top two. I was reading the chat. Their chat's talking about the Maserati and all of that. And anytime somebody mentions the Maserati, I'm interested. And just as I was doing that, all sorts of chaos unfolded onto the racetrack. I wasn't ignoring you, Ash. I was watching a Maserati, or watching chat about the Maserati. I wasn't gonna stand, or in this case, sit, because I am sedentary. I wasn't gonna sit here and take slander of the Maserati. I just want the internet to know Ash Baby and me are currently experiencing a fight based on his previous comment that I will not repeat here due to the graphic nature of the content. But Ash, you and I are having a row. I'm not having that. Tom Shipston. Oh yeah, there's a race going on. Tom Shipston continues to just about pace. Well, actually, Kyalami is the one doing the pacing, I suppose. Shipston is very much there, but not involved, so to speak. You get this kind of thing late into a championship with the different strategies and positions. Oh, Kevin Boss is right. I was going to talk about Stretch Armstrong. I completely forgot. If you were with us for Circuit of the Americas, we had a discussion about childhood toys and the like, and I had a Stretch Armstrong, which if you've never heard of that, that just means you're not old, and good for you. But I learned they oh, something's happened here. Pachuto, this is going down into the kink and into turn 2. Crowthorne. Was there a bit of contact here, I wonder, into the corner? It's a huge sin by Marco. Nope, no contact. Whiffle takes evasive action there. And Marco Pachuto in 10th place now. He did the sin, and that scared Richard Whittle out of the way. Oh, but here he comes back. Here comes Whittle back. Now, was he given the position back? Was that Marco giving the spot back? Or was that a bad run? One way or another, I don't know. They're going to have the better part of 2 laps to sort this, though. Keep in mind, 2 different classes here. Nothing in RCI says that 2 different classes on the same lap can't race each other. We only ask that they use their best discretion. But this is how it is. These 2 cars fighting for 10th overall. Chat weighing in on what they think about that incident. Marco looking up the inside. Not there. Goes over the curb. Unsettles the big Chevrolet. They will have the better part of 2 laps to still sort that out. Stretch Armstrong. I had a Stretch Armstrong when I was a kid. My mother would tell me to not to stretch it too far, which I thought was insane because the whole point of Stretch Armstrong was that you could stretch the crap out of it and it would go back to the way it was. I did a lot of very silly things to mine. I burnt it accidentally, mostly accidentally. I tied it in several knots to which my father had to untie it for me. Because here's the thing, when you stretch the Stretch Armstrong, you can tie it in knots, and then because of the innards of it, it will expand and it will essentially lock. Somehow, every time I did that, we were able to get it undone again.
All right, man. The leader is on the final lap. Give it a final push.
One day, quite near Christmas, in fact, and I remember this, I was wrapping it around the furniture in the living room, the Stretch Armstrong doll, and it broke finally. Turns out there's cornstarch in the original one. Sticky, got absolutely everywhere. But I decided I was going to have a little science experiment. What happens whenever you microwave a piece of Stretch Armstrong? It melts, folks. It melts. The cornstarch, everything, it melts. It turns into a puddle. I got in trouble for that. Man, the chat is not on my side with this one. Several accidentallys in quotation marks. Yeah. Other things I did to my Stretch Armstrong, I had an X-Acto knife, which I used to build like very small models when I was a kid. I was a model builder and a painter as well from a young age. And I pierced it after that as well. I thought it would bleed. It did not. Fun fact. Anyway, that's the story of my Stretch Armstrong. Absolutely tortured that thing. Realized in the 2000s, they re-released Stretch Armstrong with a different kind of interior thing that wasn't cornstarch. Chad is absolutely letting me have it here, and to be fair, you are correct. You know when you're a kid, sometimes you're a bit rough with your toys. Joe Dauber coming across the line here, and this is the end of the race. Joe Dauber's going to win it for Rebound Racing. Second place, Adam Romaniuk. They will be your champions. Porcelain Racing, John Racer will come home for 699 Racing in third. It was a quiet day for the Swiss driver, but a podium nonetheless that will help them in the final standings. Dauber wins the race for Rebound. Porcelain wins the championship. What a huge battle it was for Racing Team Solvalou. Nothing to be ashamed of on their part. An excellent championship. Kept it down to the last. They'll come home fourth. Tom Shipston wins it in silver for Ground Zero and the championship as well. Duard 6, Jal Manso for RPMS P2. And a close championship there as well. And in their debut team race, after pole position, Syrup & Sons and Jack Mays will bring home the number 11 Janetta in P3. It's a debut podium for Syrup & Sons. Whittle's Wizards will win the battle over what was effectively 9th, 10th place. Marco Picciuto comes home in 10th. Piotr Dominicus in 11th. For Wheelie Slow, Peter Varga in the 508. Theobald Roscom, Matthew Malcolm are your finishers. Tom Watts, the only retirement. Here are the results of the race. 0.6 of a second in the end. Rebound winning the race. Porcelain, the championship. Just an excellent fight down to the last. Good driving for the most part. I think we can all agree in a fitting final race, as close as it possibly could have been. If any of the race winners or championship winners would like to do a post-race interview, we certainly would like to oblige you, as always here. We'll wait. John and Race are commenting on their race. It was a little bit boring for them, but happy about the podium. Yep. Eraser, you were in the John Dalton zone, as we call it. More story times with me. Maybe next championship. Moment of silence, perhaps, for my Stretch Armstrong. Never got another one, by the way. Never got another one. That was the only Stretch Armstrong I ever had. Had hard, if I recall, had like the hand bits of it were like hard. And I think the most surprising thing for me when I broke it was the fact that it actually broke. Despite my parents telling me not to stretch it that far, I did anyway. Commercials might have been a little bit of a lie. Either way, we hope all of you have enjoyed the broadcast of the Wednesday Championship. We sure have enjoyed bringing it to you this entire season that we've had. We didn't know if we were going to be able to bring you many of these races. We were going to bring you as many as we could. We ended up being able to bring them all to you. And what a pleasure it has been. Excellent drive by all of the competitors, the teams. Give all of yourselves a big pat on the back for what has been an exciting champ till the last. Came down to it, and a couple of worthy champions, you have to say. Dinak in chat, very sportsmanlike. Congratulating Romaniac. You love to see the sportsmanship. Such a good finale. We will have final standings for you in just a moment. And well done to Team Sovalulu, indeed. Racing Team Sovalulu. We do have the championship results. We'll start with Pro. Here they are. This is pending any post-race stewarding, of course. But I suspect there will be very little of that. Porcelain Racing wins the championship 184 over Racing Team Sovalu. And 699 Racing secures third place in the race and the championship today. Gili comes home a respectable fourth place, 121. Rebound Racing, by virtue of their win, takes solid fifth place, 111 points for the Joe Dauber 777 for Rebound. Luna Rossa Racing in sixth place, the 69 has 109 points. NS Racing number 19 with 99. Whittles Wizards on 98, just missing out on seventh place there. Rebound Racing 96 with 68 points are your 9 championship finishers in Pro. A lot of 160 nices going on in chat. You love to see it. Here is the silver finale. It was 20 points in the end. Ground Zero Racing taking it with 200 points exactly over RPMS SimSport 222 with Zhao behind the wheel, 180 for them. And the final step of the podium, we have Wheelie Slow Racing, 147. Good enough to secure them third. Piotr Dominicus and, of course, Kevin Boss on that team. Dropping the Hammer Racing, 42, 144 points for them. Squadra Corsa Venenza Giulia, 118, rounds out your top 5. An excellently fought race by them today, of course. Team Monkey Racing, the 508 in 6 with 112. Serpent Sons amassed 35 points here today. Everybody else retired from the championship. 15 teams in all. And that's how it all shook out. Kevin Boss saying the Wheelie Slow quite happy with P3 in the final standings, as you should be. A lot of congratulations for the various teams as well. A lot of sportsmanship going on in chat. You know, I love that. Tom Watts pleading his case as well. What an event it was. What a race it was. Just one final time, I just want to say thank you to all of our partners that make this race and every race possible here on RCI TV. We couldn't do it without you. This is not the last championship race we have for you this year. In fact, we have racing in the Night Owl Series, concluding the championship finale at Suzuka this Saturday evening. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss that. It will be me and Ted Edwards bringing you the call of that race. Cormac behind the cameras there. Of course, we have the Donington F3 race in iRacing. That comes at you tomorrow. Still time to sign up for that race and get involved. Go to racerci.com, check that out, and get in some F3 racing at Donington. It's going to be a corker for sure. The Daytona 2.4 hours on January the 6th. Also available if you want that one. Of course, we may have further one-offs this holiday season in between now and 2024. Keep your eyes peeled on that. We'll keep you updated, but the only league or the only championship race left is Night Owl this weekend. We invite you to join the Discord. We invite you to join us for all of the races here, of course. And again, a big thank you to our partners, AK Esports, an Italian leader in sim racing event hosting and esports management. For more on what they can do for you and help you like they help us, go to akesports.it. Driver 61 can help you get faster on the racetrack or just more consistent. Hey, why not a little bit of both? They offer one-on-one driver coaching and full-on racing schools. Go to driver61.com. Check out how they can help you on a racetrack right now. Fanatec.com. The leader in direct drive sim racing hardware. A lot of bundles available this time of year over at fanatec.com. Use our affiliate link in the description. When you make a purchase, it helps us out with server costs. Thank you so much for doing so. Digital Motorsports is your one-stop shop for everything sim racing, all the top equipment from all the top brands in one place at digitalmotorsport.com. While you're there, check out their SimRig Builder. You can build the SimRig of your budget or your dreams at digitalmotorsport.com. And last but certainly not least, Go Setups. Go Setups, certainly one of the leaders in the setup space. They offer car packages, track packages, whatever it is that you need at Go Setups. Also available in the description below. Doesn't look like anybody has asked for an interview tonight, unless anybody in here is looking for an interview. I don't think they are. So we're going to go ahead and call it. Sorry, Ash, what are you saying? Nope. Ash is playing the protagonist tonight. No interviews here this evening, as it turns out, but congratulations to the podium finishers, the champions, of course, Porcelain Racing in Pro, and of course, our silver champions in the number 60 as well. Congratulations to them. That's going to just about wrap it up for that. You've enjoyed it. And of course, until next time, we'll see you later. Have a good night.